The following is a statement from the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union General Secretary, Senator David Massiah.
The Gaston Browne Administration continues to take steps to undermine workers' power within the hotel industry. The latest move by the Browne administration has been to spearhead and sponsor a new hospitality workers' union with the aim of fragmenting workers' power and diminishing the strength of collective bargaining. The Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union strongly condemns this union-busting tactic. A press release from the Prime Minister's office on Friday, 24 January 2025, reporting on the initial meeting of the proposed advisory board for the new union, claimed that hotel workers were facing a crisis of representation. However, no concrete evidence was provided to support this assertion. In fact, a closer look at the ABWU's work in the hotel industry reveals the opposite. In reality, it is Gaston Browne who is fabricating an imagined crisis to position himself as the workers' savior, offering promises of prosperity that ring hollow. Over the past 2 decades, the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union has significantly improved working conditions and, by extension, the lives of hospitality workers through firmly negotiated collective bargaining agreements with hoteliers. These agreements uphold the principles of decent work and shared prosperity. The ABWU continues to play a critical role in positioning the hotel industry for sustained growth by ensuring hoteliers have access to a reliable, skilled, and motivated workforce. Through our negotiations, wages and benefits have remained competitive, allowing hotels to maintain optimal staffing levels. As the industry grows, wages continue to rise. Our most recent negotiation with the Antigua and Barbuda Hotels and Tourists Association secured a $25 per week increase for 2025, and we are actively working toward even higher increases for 2026 and 2027. When we assess the period over the past 7 years, we can comfortably say the hotel workers have seen approximately a 20% increase in wages. Our goal is to win more incremental and sustainable increases for workers over time to mitigate a spiraling and out-of-control cost of living caused by Gaston Browne's inept leadership. Stability and growth in the hospitality sector cannot be attained through reckless and irresponsible agitation. The tourism industry is fragile. We must work together, workers and employers, to achieve a more robust industry that will be able to feed generations to come. Gone are the days of unnecessary conflict without meaningful dialogue. Today, we achieve greater progress through regular engagement and cooperation. Contrary to the Prime Minister's assertion, there is no mass exodus of Antiguan and Barbudans from the hotel industry due to poor wages. Ironically, the event that impacted the most on the industry labor supply was the Prime Minister's vaccine mandate during the COVID-19 pandemic. Lest we forget, this mandate targeted hotel workers more than any other industry. It is this diabolical decree that forced hundreds of hotel workers, the finest chefs, skilled bartenders, and talented hosts out of viable employment and plunged them into economic hardships, which many are still struggling to recover from today. Even those who unwillingly took the vaccine to maintain their employment have to deal with the mental and emotional trauma of being violated in this manner. These workers have not forgotten the suffering the Browne administration inflicted on them. On the issue of service charge in the hotel industry, The Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union has written to the Antigua and Barbuda Hotels and Tourists Association and continues to dialogue with them on the issue. We have kept our members updated and we intend to get justice for all affected workers. We have also written to our global affiliates, the International Transport Workers Federation, ITF, and the International Union of Foods, IUF, for assistance in securing a reputable firm to conduct an industry-wide forensic audit of the service charge. Engaging an international firm may take some time, but it is necessary as many of the local auditing firms are already contracted by local hotel properties. Once we select an auditor, we are confident that we will make significant progress in securing what is rightfully due to our members. Beyond wages, the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union has implemented landmark initiatives that safeguard workers' futures. The union instituted retirement fund with the Antigua and Barbuda Hotels and Tourists Association, which now holds an impressive $11 million in contributions, ensures that hospitality workers can retire with dignity and financial security. Other properties, such as Elite Resorts and Sandals, have also instituted their own retirement thrift funds on the advice of the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union. Since February 15, 2010, more than $10 million have been paid out of these funds to employees for various reasons, including support during the COVID-19 pandemic. This initiative is a testament to the union's commitment to long-term benefits for its members. Additionally, through the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union's advocacy, hotel workers and their families have access to comprehensive medical insurance, with employers as the primary contributors. This provides critical healthcare protection and peace of mind for thousands. No other industry within Antigua and Barbuda can boast of an industry-wide medical plan that covers all workers. Without this policy, many hotel workers would find themselves at the mercy of a dilapidated public healthcare system that this administration has done nothing to correct. Unrepaired and poorly maintained essential medical equipment is the order of the day in the public healthcare system of this failing administration. It is the nation's healthcare system that is in crisis under the Gaston Browne Administration, not the hotel industry. Cancer patients fighting for their lives are twice afflicted when vital treatment is non-existent throughout the public healthcare system. The Cancer Treatment Center, a very promising initiative, has been placed at the back of the government's priorities, while the finances of the ABWU's SNACET have been made a national priority for the Browne administration. Over the weekend, news broke of a questionable cancer treatment operation in Antigua that resulted in the death of several U.S. citizens. It is alleged that the government of Antigua and Barbuda gave the local clinic permission to use an experimental treatment that had not been approved by the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, the leading institution in the United States charged with the responsibility of assuring the safety, efficacy, and security of drugs and medical devices. Because of the Browne administration's poor judgment in this matter, and its failure to implement proper oversight and regulatory policies in the country's medical industry, our nation is now embroiled in an international scandal that could cause irreparable damage to Antigua and Barbuda's reputation. U.S. investigators are on the ground building a case to pursue justice for the lives lost in this scandal. This is a looming crisis that demands the government's urgent attention, but Gaston Browne has chosen to fixate on undermining the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union and its members. While the Browne administration is failing the nation, the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union is working tirelessly to empower hotel workers. In addition to regular wage increases, a retirement fund, and a comprehensive healthcare insurance, the ABWU has successfully secured a range of allowances and benefits designed to improve working conditions and enhance workers' overall quality of life. These include transportation allowances, meal subsidies, uniform provisions, and more, all which demonstrate the union's tireless commitment to advancing our members' well-being. The Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union has been going above and beyond to improve wages and secure meaningful benefits for workers. But the Prime Minister and his administration have spared no effort to erode these gains by refusing to address the cost of living crisis. Yes, this is the real crisis in Antigua and Barbuda. Out-of-control prices at the supermarkets, petrol stations, and utility service providers. In this dreadful economy that is the creation of the Browne administration, workers must choose between paying bills and feeding their families. It is Gaston Browne's poor social and economic policies that have induced unnecessary hardships in the lives of workers throughout the country. Even under these circumstances, the Browne administration has shown absolutely no compassion for workers. Instead, this administration went to Parliament and increased the rate of ABST, Social Security contributions, and other taxes, further pressuring the pockets of the ordinary workers. As if this were not enough to obliterate any disposable income in workers' pockets, the Prime Minister recently called for more unconscionable increases in the form of higher vehicle licensing fees and water rates. Why is this administration always eager to grab the little that the poor man has, but never proactive in easing the impact of inflation on workers? Our union, on the other hand, continues to invest in workers through training and education. Each year, the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union spends approximately $80,000 equipping workers across multiple industries, including the hospitality sector. Our training agenda consists of a robust schedule of workshops and seminars covering a variety of subjects, including occupational safety and health, Division C of the Labor Code, and foreign languages, to name a few. As recent as this week, dozens of young workers were engaged in a 2-day seminar to bolster their knowledge in industrial relations as well as prepare them for the future by exploring topics such as artificial intelligence. As part of our union's long-term agenda, the ABWU proposed the development of an affordable housing project for hotel workers in partnership with the ABHTA and BOPANEL. Had it not been for the COVID-19 pandemic, this project would have been in the advanced stages. Notwithstanding, almost 1 year ago, the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union called on the Browne administration to make available to the union and the ABHTA 10 acres of land and provide the requisite concessions to assist in bringing this project to fruition. To date, the government has shown no interest in satisfying this request. How then can workers trust this administration when they resist every opportunity to advance workers' well-being? Even our call for this administration to enact severance protection legislation has fallen on deaf ears. The COVID-19 pandemic taught us that workers' severance must be guaranteed and readily available even in a crisis. Yet, this administration has seen no urgency in developing the necessary legislation that would protect workers' severance and ensure that they have the means to sustain themselves upon redundancy. On too many occasions, workers have been deprived of their dignity and forced to beg for what is rightfully theirs. Jolly Beach workers and their families experience this firsthand. If the Prime Minister genuinely cares about the well-being of hotel workers, he should start by advancing legislation to protect workers' severance instead of imposing himself in the business of workers' representation. Mr. Prime Minister, you would do well to stay in your lane. A Prime Minister who is sincerely concerned about the well-being of workers would encourage dialogue within the industry that is focused on improving productivity and building out a sustainable future for all stakeholders, not destroying one union to build another. But while the Prime Minister continues to leverage his office and state resources to pursue this wicked and destructive agenda, the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union, with its partner, the Antigua and Barbuda Hotels and Tourist Association, and other hoteliers, continue to hold productive and progressive discussion to address real issues within the industry, such as chronic absenteeism. We are currently exploring how hotel properties can institute childcare facilities and services for evening shift workers. This will bring peace of mind to many single mothers who at times feel compelled to miss work in order to provide care and supervision for their young children. Again, these are the types of meaningful conversation we should be entertaining within the industry, not expending our energies on activities that divide workers and reverse years of progress. The Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union's track record of advocating for workers speaks for itself. Meanwhile, the Gaston Browne Administration's record is one of neglect and disregard for workers' well-being. For over 6 years, the Browne Administration has not signed the collective bargaining agreement with the Antigua and Barbuda Public Service Association, denying public servants their rightful benefits and timely salary increases. Meanwhile, the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union has secured multiple signed agreements from hoteliers, while the Browne administration has failed to demonstrate even basic respect for industrial relations process. Rather than implementing regular wage increases to help workers manage the soaring cost of living, the Browne administration withhold these benefits, turning them into political bargaining chips during the general election season. Is this the behavior of a leader who truly cares about workers? The Browne administration's consistent disregard for public sector employees leave no doubt that its apparent concern for hotel workers is disingenuous at best. The press release from the Prime Minister's office also claimed that union officials at the advisory board meeting supported the Prime Minister's assessment of the state of hotel workers' representation. Who exactly are these union officials? Of those present, how many of them are active union leaders or officials? The truth is, many of the attendees to this so-called advisory board meeting are individuals who are previously colluded with hoteliers, either to retrench workers or to resist fair wage increases proposed by the ABW. How then can the Prime Minister and these individuals parade as the vanguards of workers' well-being? Further, given the Prime Minister's dictatorial and abusive posture towards workers and even his colleagues, one can only wonder whether intimidation or coercion was used to assemble the individuals who attended this meeting. The press release from the Prime Minister's office also hinted at the initiation of legislative maneuvers to facilitate the establishment and operationalization of the so-called union entity. It also noted Prime Minister Browne's offer to provide financial and other resources to this entity. Such a move on the government's part would constitute a serious violation of international standards of labor relations. According to Article 2 of the International Labour Organization Convention 98, and I quote, "Workers and employers' organizations shall enjoy adequate protection against any acts of interference by each other or each other's agents or members in the establishment, functioning, or administration." Article 2 further states, "In particular, acts which are designed to promote the establishment of workers' organizations under the denomination of employers or employers' organizations, or to support workers' organization by financial or other means with the object of placing such organization under the control of employers or employers' organizations, shall be deemed to constitute acts of interference within the meaning of this article." We strongly caution the government to reconsider its actions and desist from these illicit maneuvers. A video clip emerging from the meeting raised the issue of succession planning in the hotel industry. Contrary to the Prime Minister's position, the ABWU firmly believes that this is a matter of national policy that falls squarely under the government's responsibility. Instead of implementing and enforcing national policies that empower Antiguans and Barbudans to hold top management positions, this administration has been more than happy to sign off on work permits that deprive Antiguans and Barbudans of these opportunities. Furthermore, the Labor Department, which should have direct oversight of the industry's succession policy as well as ensures compliance, has been neglected under the Browne administration. Understaffed, underfunded, and overwhelmed with unresolved worker cases. How can it possibly address critical long-term issues like succession planning when the government has failed to properly equip the department to meet its day-to-day operational needs? The ABW plays a supportive role in succession planning within the hotel industry, but the government must take the lead. Instead of addressing the administration failures and incompetence in this area, the Prime Minister has attempted to deflect blame on the union. This is a disservice to workers and the industry as a whole. The Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union remains steadfast in its commitment to protecting and advancing the rights and well-being of workers in the hotel industry. We will not be deterred by the Gaston Browne Administration's Machiavellian attempts to weaken collective bargaining or diminish workers' power. The union's proven track record of securing fair wages, improved working conditions, long-term benefits, and industry growth speaks volumes about the strength of collective action and the value of unity. Workers deserve genuine representation and meaningful progress, not divisive tactics and empty rhetoric. The Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union will continue to stand as a pillar of advocacy, ensuring that the voices of workers remain strong and their contributions to the industry are rightfully recognized and rewarded.
The preceding was a statement from the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union General Secretary, Senator David Massiah.